All right. We should be live. You should be able to hear me this time. I just did like a 30-minute live stream with the volume off. Yeah. So I guess I got some practice. I was thinking, it's almost 1 o'clock. Maybe I should just go to sleep. Fuck that. I just spoke for like 35 minutes live with the sound off. So nobody could hear me. I noticed people popping in on YouTube and then popping out again really quick. I was wondering, I must be really boring tonight. Maybe I wasn't so bad. Maybe it's just that I'm an idiot and I don't know how to turn the volume on. If you can hear me right now, please say something in the comments just so that I know for sure. Because I don't want to do another live stream where nobody could hear me. All right, I think I've got everything organized here now. Give me 2 seconds. All right. Hey, welcome in. So if you're listening right now, maybe you were out tonight, maybe you're hammered right now. I don't know, but probably not a bad thing if you're going to be listening to me. I would probably recommend it. All right. So what are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about on a Saturday night? Well, I got a few things set up here. I didn't really have anything prepared for them, but I've already gone through them. So now I kind of do. So I should probably be pretty good. Let's go through this. We have a machete wielding professor. Now, I didn't do a video on this during the week, so I thought maybe I could touch on it now. And again, if anybody out there is listening right now, please let me know in the comments that the sound's okay. That would be helpful for me. And also, too, if you got some topic you want me to touch on, you want me to talk about tonight, I will do that. We'll get into it. I mean, you may not like what I have to say about it, but we can do that. So give me one more second. Hold on. I rarely do these things, these live streams. So it always takes me a couple of minutes to get everything set up, even though I just did one with the sound off. Anyway, so we got a machete wielding professor. Do you remember when professors used to wear like tweed jackets with like patches on the elbows? They had like a pipe. Remember? They didn't have machetes back then. Like in the good old days, they didn't have machetes, right? This seems like a new thing to me. Somehow I'm not surprised. It says here the manic Manhattan arts professor who held a machete to a post reporter's neck and threatened to chop him, up, flashed a brazen smile Thursday. As law enforcement sources say, she was slapped with harassment and menacing charges. Harassment and menacing. Yes, I mean, I think menacing and a machete kind of go hand in hand, don't they? Rodriguez's arrest follows Tuesday's shocking chain of events, which unfolded when the veteran post reporter knocked on when a veteran post reporter knocked on her apartment door to ask her about viral footage of her cursing out Hunter College pro-life students. So this is a reporter from the Post who went to interview her after there was footage of her harassing some students, some young people at a college who had like a table set up with some pro-life literature. And she wasn't having it because she's a modern professor and students aren't allowed to disagree with her. It's an indoctrination mill now. So, and I guess it's perfectly acceptable to threaten and harass students because modern year and everything's insane. And a reporter went to talk to her about it, and she went even more loony. Let's take a look here. There she is, holding a machete up. She pulls out a machete, holds it up to a reporter's throat. Like she's not even trying to not look like a crazy person at this point. And the thing is, it's not even surprising, is it? Are you surprised? There she is out in the street now. She's followed him out. She's got a machete. She's walking out on the street with a machete. Other people aren't even noticing. I guess this is just normal in New York now. I guess this is just typical behavior. Machete professor. Here's the thing. I mean, professors, academia, it's always leaned left wing. You always had kind of champagne socialists who it was very fashionable. They didn't ever really intend to be a part of the socialist or the communist revolution. Again, they had the tweed jackets, with the patches on the elbows and their pipes, and they weren't really going to do a revolution. The professors now, I think, are full on violent revolutionaries. I mean, obviously. I mean, this woman's covered with tattoos. She's got a fuck the police tattoo on her. She's threatening people with machetes, which I think is a lack of decorum for a professor. It's kind of exactly the opposite of what a professor really used to be, isn't it? Now they're just full on Marxist revolutionaries. And apparently they've never actually looked into the history of all this, because if they did, they would realize that they're going to be the first ones to go when the revolution happens. It's anybody who could take a leadership role is suspect immediately, right? In the revolution, in the great revolution. I guess maybe, I real communism's never been done, right? Yes, if you believe that, I've got some swampland in Florida to sell you. All right. Well, Florida sounds like a pretty good place to be right now, I got to be honest. So, crazy lady with the machete, and she's getting arrested, and probably absolutely nothing will happen to her. And probably the reporter will end up being charged with something, because it seems like that's the way it happens with the law in New York now, is that the victims are the criminals. She's smiling. She doesn't seem to be terribly worried about anything. Um, and yeah, I mean, realistically, she probably doesn't need to be. I mean, here's some of her tattoos. She got some brass knuckles there. Um, there's FTP, F the police. Um, all in all, seems like a horrible person who shouldn't be teaching anybody. And I think she actually did get fired for her appalling behavior, which is good. Maybe she can now spend her time pushing people onto the tracks at the subway. Who knows? I thought this was kind of funny. Boston's reparations task force coordinator, reparations task force coordinator, fired after burning sage, harassing custodians, and sleeping in City Hall and getting arrested. So I guess that's bad. Okay. What happened? According to a police report, city employees said that throughout May, they have had difficulties with him trespassing in the building after hours and at times becoming aggressive and threatening other staff members inside of City Hall. Now, uh, anybody listening, let me know if the audio is okay in the comments. Okay, that would be helpful. Thank you. Uh, Williams, who has been arrested for multiple drug offenses in the past, according to Massachusetts-based outlet at TB Daily News, was allegedly found nonverbal in an off-limits room while sage burned Thursday evening. How did he get there? Well, he allegedly chased off a custodian to gain access to the room. No word on if he had a machete. Machete. So he is the Boston's reparations task force coordinator. I feel like they're not sending their best. If they're really serious about this, they probably need to get people who don't do all of this. But again, the world is fairly insane, so who knows? Let's take a look at Twitter. Let's see what's going on with Twitter. Again, I don't really have stuff prepared. I thought we could just kind of wing it. Let's do it. Hope everybody's having a good night. Oh, we've got one like. Nice. Let's make it two if we can. Late night insomnia hitting hard again. Well, you're not the only one, huh? Decided to write some more. Twitter auto deboost any SS links. So if you're interested in satire, visit the site and subscribe if you like. Shock is man who mooches cigarettes actually buys a pack. When I smoked cigarettes, that was I used to have to deal with it all the time. Get some aggressive people. Let's move on though. Why are companies doing this? It's called DEI. These initiatives are put down in social initiatives. Blah blah. Okay, let's keep going. Find something else. Uh it's just I don't approve of what's happening in the world. Were you guys aware of that? If you watch my regular videos, you probably were. What else have we got here? Anything interesting? Well, here's some Canada news. Who is actually being served by keeping the details of China's interference secret? Does it protect Canadians? Would revealing details put Canadians at risk? Moreover, if there has been no interference, then why not show the evidence? Nothing adds up. So, if you're not aware of what's happening in Canada, there have actually been a bunch of leaks from intelligence services in Canada revealing a bunch of Chinese interference in elections. All now, I know you're never going to believe this, but all to Trudeau's benefit. It appears, and I know this is crazy. It appears like China wants Justin Trudeau to run Canada for some reason. They gave hundreds of thousands of dollars to the Trudeau Foundation. Um, they've been interfering in local elections. They were threatening the family of a conservative MP in Canada. It's just insane. Like, it's crazy. It's totally crazy. Trudeau has also in the past, you may be aware, has said that he admires China's basic dictatorship, which seems like an odd thing to say, unless you're Justin Trudeau, I guess. So there have been calls for a public inquiry into all this Chinese interference in Canadian elections and just Canadian business in general. There's also secret Chinese police stations in Canada. It's fucking crazy. There's been calls for a public inquiry into this, and Trudeau appointed a close family friend, which he called a special rapporteur. Nobody's ever heard of a rapporteur before, right? It's just some goofy name he came up, some goofy position he came up with, um, to give to his friend to decide whether or not there would be a public inquiry. And you know what? Surprisingly, the Trudeau family close friend decided that no, everything's fine. No need for a public inquiry. No, everything's fine. Trudeau's great, actually. He's a great guy. Yeah, I mean, it's a level of corruption that's insane, and I guess our political system allows for it. But it is shocking. It is shocking. Trudeau is the worst human being I think that's ever existed in Canada. He's the worst Canadian ever. He's certainly the worst prime minister ever. He's the most corrupt. It's just a long string of corruption over and over and over again. I mean, of course, there's the blackface. I'm sure you're all aware of that. He's called Prime Minister Blackface for a reason. There are several pictures of him in blackface. He can't tell us how many exactly there are, how many times he did. It seems to be a bit of a fetish. I actually did a little animation called Wakanda Dreaming, in which Trudeau wants to be the white Black Panther, which is a bit of a take on his blackface thing, which you can check out on my channel, which is very funny. Anyway, he's an asshole. And as for these questions, who is actually being served by keeping the details of China's interference secret? Justin Trudeau is. The Liberal Party is, obviously. Does it protect Canadians? No. Anyway, Canada is broken. It needs to be fixed. And I think it will be in the next election. And then when that happens, if we can get a conservative government, even a minority one, we have to push hard because there's been so much damage done that there's a lot of work to do. All right. Well, here's something interesting. Again, anybody in the chat, let me know how the audio sounds, please. BLM misappropriated over 60% of funds out of a total of 90 million donated in 2 years. So 60% of 90 million. So that's what, like $57 million. Holy shit. That's kind of unbelievable, huh? Um, all right. So okay, let's just keep going. 12 million was spent on mansions for the founders. Yeah, BLM stands for buy lots of mansions, apparently. Um, 22 million in expenses. Well, I mean, you can't pay for your own lunch. 2.1 million to BLM board member, 1.6 million to founder's brother for security. Okay, it's starting to feel like a bit of a scam, isn't it? How Black Lives Matter burned through most of 19 million in donations in 2 years. 30 million grants to charitable foundations. Okay, paid to BLM GNF board member, blah blah blah, for her consulting firm. Okay, so yeah, that looks like fairly corrupt. Patrice Collore's brother in his security company, 1.6 million. Yeah, you can see it's just utter corruption here. I mean, communists are always corrupt anyway. Like the founders of BLM were very proudly trained Marxists, in their own words, trained Marxists. I find nobody loves money more than a Marxist, apparently. um, Revenue less expenses, 33 million. It's all gone. It's all been gone. Nothing will happen to any of them. Not while Biden is in office. Nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. It doesn't matter. It's so connected to the left wing and to left wing politicians in the Democratic Party in the United States that, I mean, they have to sweep this under the rug. There's just no other way to go about it. This could make them look bad. Let's move along. We already knew that, didn't we? Here's a crazy person. What is she saying? Let's see what she's. Tell me if you can hear this, because this streaming software that I have, I think, has issues with uh, audio for videos that I play on here. So tell me if you can actually hear this. 7-year-old transgender non. This is demented. This is demented. This is, what does Gadsad call it? Munchausen by proxy. This is demented. I mean, it's just so clearly reckless and irresponsible. You don't know what that child is going to become, what they're going to grow into. They're developing. That's the whole point, right? Of having to take care of them when they're children. They're developing. They don't know what's happening. They don't know how to make their way through the world. They don't know. They don't have the capacity to make these kinds of decisions, to even understand them. For God's sake, any adult should understand this. Anybody who's ever been a child, which is all of us, should understand that. But these people are willfully ignorant. They're reckless. They're insane. This isn't love. This isn't caring. Here, these are the people who are raising kids these days. This is what mental illness looks like. I wonder, I mean, is extreme narcissism mental illness? I mean, it's extremely damaging to the person and to those around them. This is where we are, and this came on fast. Doesn't it feel like this came on real fast? Really fast, where it's been normalized so quickly. It's not very long ago that nobody would have gone on the internet and published something like this. they would have known that there's something very wrong with it. Let's move on. Let's keep going. Lesbians. Yeah. Here, let's good lord. Yeah. Well, I guess if you're a lesbian and you're not into that, that makes you a bigot. Makes you a bad person. Um, let's keep going. Let's see. What's this? Ilya Ponomarenko. Why some Ukrainian soldiers use Nazi-related insignia? Maybe it's because they're Nazis. Ever thought about that? How come, like, if you make like you're wiping your face and somebody interprets your hand wiping your nose as some sort of hand signal, you're suddenly a far right Nazi or something. But people who actually have it aren't. If there's always the if, it's it's inconvenient for them to be labeled the same. I mean, look, it's a long, complicated history in the Ukraine going back to World War II. It's it actually is quite complicated, but I just find it's hilarious that the willful blindness when it suits them, when it suits the left, it never ceases to astonish me. Let's take a look. Genuine mental illness. Yeah, there's a lot of that going around these days. Let's see. Well, what's this? Okay, so there's an election in Alberta, Canada. And it looks like it's pretty tight between the Conservative Party there, and Alberta's a very conservative province. Um, but it's tight between them and the NDP, which is the NDP is basically the super woke socialist party in Canada. The more super woke, even more woke and socialist than Trudeau party. How about that? After Daniel, and this guy's, I guess, worried about it. After Daniel Smith wins on Monday, she needs to go full bull in a China shop populist. No more weakness, no more caving to the media. Unleash on Ottawa, ignore Trudeau and the Laurentian elites. Bold sovereignty agenda, crack down on woke bullshit. Alberta has had enough. Yeah, I think a lot of people in Alberta would be very happy with that as a platform. Because the wokeness is fucking everywhere now, even in even like in Alberta, the two big cities, Edmonton and Calgary, are run by leftists, right? So it's leftist in those cities. Everybody outside of it is conservative. Everybody. Let's keep going. Let's see. What do we got? Uh is there anything interesting here? How long have we been talking for? 24 minutes? There is Roger Waters. There's a big fuss about him dressing like a Nazi. I guess it's a production of The Wall. Um and I thought there was always kind of because I think in The Wall, in the album, the movie, there's like a fascist party that Pink goes into. I can't remember. It's a long time ago, all this stuff, but I think there was like a fascist party, like You Better Run the song. Um, so I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. I'm not going to comment on it. I have no idea. Oh, that's a nice photo. Approve of that one. Um, what else do we got? Gallagher. No, no. I don't know what's that. Combo, redneck grill and cooler. Okay. Uh, I don't know. I think that's probably good. Is there We'll do one quick check here, see if there's anything else interesting. How about this? I meet someone and we talk. I maul their infant. They leave. I do kind of think like you see a video with like people with like little kids, like babies and stuff, and they've got one of those dogs, and like I don't know, like, they do occasionally snap and rip people's faces off and like maul children and stuff, right? Like that does happen, right? Like if a poodle does it, it's not really such a big deal, right? Like like if a poodle attacks mauls a person, right? You can kill a poodle by stepping on it, you know? You can't kill a pit bull by stepping on it. It's gonna rip off your leg, right? I mean, there is some truth in this. That's why it's funny, because there is some truth in this. I meet someone, we talk, I maul their infant, they leave. That's why it's so horribly funny. We got anything else? Is there something that I can go off on one last great rant for the evening? Um, well, there's this guy here who's basically a vampire. He's taking his kid's blood. It's just, I don't know. I don't think I'm cool with that. I don't think you should take your children's blood, you know? I mean, maybe their kidneys, but let's see. Is there one thing that I can go on an insane rant about? Uh, feel free to put something in the comments to make a suggestion if you like. Happy to talk about anything. The new Netflix and Frank film looks amazing. Yeah, it's since this Cleopatra special, where they blackwashed it, is that's been a gold mine for memes. I keep seeing these fake these fake things now. These memes. It's funny. Turns out Cleopatra really was a Greek. So she didn't look like Jada Pinkett. Let's see. Anything for a rant here? Anything I can rant about? Oh, more Canadians are experiencing allergies due to climate change. Oh, fuck off. Not interested anymore. God is Love by there's that what is that? What is this? It's one of these. I don't know. Not interested actually. Gotta keep moving. Visited Allen Gardens this morning in Toronto's core. It's a complete tent city that makes the park unusable for most. This has to be dealt with, must end. This is the kind of insane shit, again, that just kind of crept up. Um, it's stuff that nobody would have believed 20 years ago, right? Like the levels of chaos and madness and depravity. Like nobody would have believed it 20 years ago. I mean, yeah, there was drug addiction, there was homelessness, but nobody would have believed like whole parks being taken over and just kind of it's okay. There's needles everywhere. Fine. Nobody could have believed any of this stuff. It's just this encroaching Marxism. I mean, what else is it? I mean, everything that we're being confronted with now is the foundation of it is Marxism. So all the critical theory, all the gender theory, all the radical theory, all of that is under this umbrella, this overarching umbrella of Marxism, and it's all just little splinters. James Lindsay talks about this quite a bit. It's all just these little splinters off from that. The radical gender theory, critical race theory. These are all just parts of this overarching Marxism. It's the Trojan horse that Marxism is being brought in with, right? It's focused on identity rather than class now, which is so interesting, right? Like we've seen this shift in politics where, like in the States, for instance, Democrats used to be the a party of the working class, not any longer. They're the party of Wall Street now. In Canada, the furthest left party and the Liberal Party in Canada, it's hard to believe, but it used to be pretty moderate. You know, used to be pretty moderate. Liberals, conservatives used to get along just fine. Now they're well, I mean, they call them progressive. Um, Trudeau is actually, you know what? Let's talk about Trudeau. Let's talk about Trudeau. Trudeau has destroyed the Liberal Party in Canada. Um, they're no longer a party for the working class at all. The NDP is the furthest left party in Canada. They have absolutely nothing to do with the working class anymore, really. Some still vote for them just out of habit, I guess, but they're just fully woke now. They are the party of the college professor. The Liberal Party in Canada is the party of the elites now. It's no longer the party of any working class people. They hate the working class people. They don't even try to court them. Trudeau is trying to do something to Canada. He's trying to wreck Canada. He's trying to transform it into something else. And I'm sure that people in the States that are listening understand that. They can recognize that for what's happening in their country. Trudeau said of Canada, he's been quite forthright about this, right? He said of Canada that it has no core identity. Said that Canada is the first post-national country, whatever the fuck that means, right? What it means is that everything's changing and you're just going to go along with it. I think that's what it means. Canada has no core identity. What? What? I think Trudeau has no core identity. I think he'll say absolutely anything to stay in power, as we've seen. It is astonishing the brazenness of this guy, the shamelessness. I mean, here's the guy who's been caught so many times in blackface. There are so many photos of him in blackface. There's several photos of him in blackface. And this is not like when he was like a kid. He was an adult at this time. Okay. So there's all these photos of him. So many that he won't even tell us how many. He's been asked, I mean, how many times did you do this? Because photos keep popping up, and he's like, I don't know. And then blamed Canada for being racist, I guess. But the audacity of that man to then promote himself as the paragon of virtue, of modern woke virtue. With that history, it's crazy, isn't it? It shows you that the left doesn't even really care. It's just all about team now. It's all about the cult. Inconvenient facts, like the fact that in Canada, their great leader is a complete and total hypocrite. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Hair and teeth, hair and teeth, salt and pepper goatee occasionally. That's good enough. And you know what? In Canada, really, it's about middle class, suburban, white suburban liberal women because of hair and teeth. And women always like a guy who's a bit of an asshole. That's a very common thing. Women like guys who are a bit of an asshole. And Trudeau actually is a bit of an asshole, even though he pretends to be Mr. Empathy. I don't know. He calls everybody he doesn't like an istophobe. He's a prick. He shuts down people's bank accounts. He's the biggest asshole who's ever run Canada. And these, white suburban liberal women eat it up. That's what got him elected. And it's shameful. And at some point, we've got to be able to get rid of them. We don't have a history in Canada of keeping prime ministers around for too long. Not in recent history. I think he's just about come to the end of his leash, but I don't know. The world is changing. This country is changing, right? The post-national country of Canada, the country without a core identity. What is the purpose of these things? What is the purpose of him saying these things? It's to reshape the country into something else. Because he can just say, "Well, no, this is what Canada is. I'm telling you what Canada is. What you think it is doesn't matter. I've already said there's no core identity, so what you say doesn't matter." Right? The whole thing feels very WEF, Great Reset, you know, New World Order crap, doesn't it? We know it loves that. You know that the deputy prime minister and finance minister, Chrystia Freeland, is a board member the World Economic Forum. She's a high up there. She's very, very connected into that. I'm sure that will not surprise you. It feels like Trudeau um, is more interested in pleasing Klaus Schwab, the Bond villain, than Canadians. He doesn't seem to care. Do you know he wants to ban um, he wants to ban gas cars by 2035. I mean, this is all crazy shit. It's impossible. It's ridiculous. Clyde Collins, hey! Justin still likes his basic dictatorship, I see. Good to see you in the chat, Clyde. Uh, I do these things so very rarely, so it's good to see a familiar face there. Um, if you guys are enjoying this, I'll do more, but you guys got to let me know. I'll do more chats if you guys want, but only if the people want it. All right, so I was ranting about Trudeau there. Is there anything you guys want to talk about? Clyde, what's on your mind? Clyde's in the comments all the time. He's very good comments. Always happy to see him in there. Here's JG McCullough. Ireland. Oh, now how is that dire? I've never known how to say that word. No, it's too late. It's Jesus. It's 121. Anyway, great to see you in the comments there. And you're in Ireland. What time is it there? It must be, what is it, 8 hours ahead? So it's probably, oh, it's the morning there. If you want me to talk about something, you better let me know. Dear Mewid. Dear Mewid. Okay, great. Well, thank you for that. Now I know. Um, if you guys want me to talk about a topic, hit on something, let me know soon because it's getting late here and I'm gonna have to hit the sack pretty soon. But I'm very happy to see you guys. 9 here in London, but I am Irish. Oh, I see. Okay, so that's Irish name, but you're in London. Okay. All righty. Um, you know what? There's that story. I don't know, was it London that Mizzy? Let's check that out. Hold on. Let me look him up here. Mizzy. That obnoxious kid who was I think just got arrested. The kid who was like going into people's houses. Oh, draconian laws in Ireland. Okay. You know what? Let's bring that up because I have heard about that. Um uh censorship in Ireland. My understanding of that is that they are banning content, banning the ownership of what they call like hate materials in your own home, just being on your devices, not sharing it or anything, and what they consider to be hate. Um, but let me pull up an article on this. Why is it not bringing anything? Is that Google playing games? Um, I know the story you're talking about, and censorship law in Ireland, and it's appalling, actually. Censorship law, maybe internet. Net censorship law in Ireland. Um, why is it not bringing this up? I feel like what's this? I feel like Google is playing games a lot of the time now. They're just hiding stuff they don't want people to see. Oh, here we go. Oh no, that's 2015. Sorry. Okay, hold on. Let's just pull up the last week. I'm looking for this, and for some reason, it's not coming up. Let's see. You have to prove the law that you weren't going to send an offensive meme. That's right. You have to prove that you're not guilty. That's right. Let's new. Let's try this one. Should probably be on a different browser. Actually, would be probably better. It's unbelievable. This won't come up. Holy crap. Uh, maybe hate speech law. Speech law in Ireland. Oh, here we go. All right. And censorship, that's why it doesn't come up. It's why I asked you if you could see anything in Canada. I have heard about this, but I heard about it on YouTube. I think Lotus Eaters were covering it. That may be where I saw it. And also Count Dankula as well, I think. Tough new hate crime law has Irish fearful their luck's running out on free speech. Ireland is on the verge of passing, this is from May 24th, verge of passing the most aggressive hate crime law in the European Union, which includes the first legal protections in the EU for transgender individuals. They always see this is what they do, right? They'll say it's to protect a threatened group, and that's what they use to pass this stuff. It's a Trojan horse that they use, but it's actually much more far-reaching. Same thing is happening in Canada, actually. And you guys have seen my videos on that, like Bill C-11, C-36. There's a bunch. There's so many coming from Trudeau that it's hard to keep. It's actually hard to keep track of them all. But anyway, government officials say the bill offers necessary protections at a time when immigration is on the rise and traditional ideas about sex and gender are being challenged. See, it's always when immigration's on the rise, they smuggle it in. They smuggle it in with these excuses. It's never actually about that. Critics counter that the bill's vague language could be used to enforce the increasingly progressive Irish government's increasingly woke agenda and forcibly muzzle critics of unpopular government policies. Well, of course, that's what the whole point of all this is. That's what the point of Trudeau's internet censorship bills are. It's what the point of this stuff is. It's just control. Hold on, let me check the comments here. When a refugee in Ireland cut the media blanked it out completely. Yeah, that's what this kind of stuff is. It's to keep people from talking about things that are inconvenient regarding government policy. That is precisely what it's for. And this is happening across the Western world. Like, again, in Canada, you've got Trudeau's internet censorship bill, which just passed, and it's snuck in in the Trojan horse of CanCon, or Canadian content, in that the social media companies have to promote Canadian content. Well, what's Canadian content, you might ask? Well, there's the governing body in a regulatory body in Canada called the CRTC, the Canadian Radio Television something Commission, and they are going to decide. It's a government body, supposed to be supposed to be independent from the government, but come on. Yeah, I don't think so. And in any case, they are going to decide what's Canadian content. Right? Well, what do you think they're going to tell the social media companies to promote? I mean, every institution in Canada has been taken over by wokeness, right? You know what they're going to want to promote. You know what they're going to tell the social media companies not to promote. Stuff like channels like mine, right? So it's always comes in under in this Trojan horse. That's how they do it. That's how they trick people. What does Clyde say? For the next live stream, perhaps try different search engine on a different browser. Yeah, good idea. Google does like to censor this, that, and the other. Some experimentation might help. Maybe DuckDuckGo. I heard there was some problems with that as well. Maybe I need to research. Yeah, I kind of just jumped on here, to be honest. So I haven't. I've done about 6 live streams in 4 years. Um, so I do need to sharpen my game a little bit. And yeah, these are the kind of kinks you got to work out, I guess. But yeah, definitely I should be looking for a new search engine, figuring out a good one. Google does tend to hide things. So as we see in Ireland, now what I wonder is how popular is this government in Ireland? I mean, I know it doesn't really matter anymore. Now maybe you could comment on this, um, Dearmuid in London. But it seems to me that the Conservative Party, which has been in power in England for a long time, it seems to me they haven't have they really ruled as a conservative party? As I understand it, immigration has was a big issue, a big reason for the landslide in that election that brought in Boris Johnson. But it's just basically the same as if it was a labor government. Watching well, I guess like trigonometry or like the Lotus Eaters, they don't seem to feel like the conservatives are very conservative. Oh, the good news is that the Irish are fighting back. They have big rallies and big support against the new plantation. The Tories are woke. Okay. So, yeah, that's what it seems like just to me. And that's what that's my fear in Canada is that when we finally get Trudeau out, which is probably still going to be another couple of years, is that the conservatives are not going to be conservative and there's not going to be much difference. I mean, Trudeau light at best. Tories just tell lies. That's what I'm hearing. That seems to be what's going on. Um, but in Ireland, you say the Irish are fighting back. They're having big rallies, a big support. Um, will it work? That's the question. Because these governments seem to just ignore the people, and it's kind of astonishing, really. I mean, I guess maybe that's maybe they don't want to get trumped. They don't want to what happened to Trump to happen to them. I mean, see what happened. Well, I mean, the United States is a different case entirely, obviously, but uh, Trump, whatever you think of him, the establishment from both parties was not. They didn't like him, and obviously there was a long, long um, war, internal war against him. Um, and he wasn't playing ball, obviously. Um, let's see. The Irish are unlike any other people. They are not only protesting; they are marching. Good, good. Hopefully, they can make a difference. This law is insane. Critics counter that the bill's vague language could be used to enforce the increasingly progressive Irish government's increasingly woke agenda, forcibly muzzle critics of unpopular government policies. That's exactly what it's designed to do. Let's get into the specifics of it here for anybody who's not aware of this. Um, 73% of respondents, Irish citizens in a 2019 consultation phase overwhelmingly expressed a worry that the proposal was an unnecessary expansion of the country's existing hate crimes law. 73% of respondents took issue with the bill's potential for encroachment on free speech and questioned what qualifies as hate speech. I know this is the problem, right? Particularly asking who crafts that definition. Less than 25% of those polled approved of the legislation. And again, this is the insanity, right? Like it just gets through anyway. It just gets through anyway. I mean, everybody with half a freaking brain wants to know, well, what is hate speech exactly? Is it just things you don't like? Because it seems like it's just things you don't like. And that's, from people that support it. I have talked to people and I've been astonished their lack of ability to see beyond their own shadow on this hate speech thing. People who would call themselves liberals who 20 years ago obviously they would have been actual liberals, right? And opposed to things like hate speech laws. They would have been with like a Chomsky, for instance, on that. No longer. Let's see. The Irish use direct action. Okay. Well, good. I mean, I hope that they're successful. But again, you have to wonder. I mean, you've got an incredibly unpopular law and it gets through anyway. I mean, it just doesn't feel like democracy, does it? Let's see if they've got a bit more detail on this. Here we go. This is it right here. Let's pull this up here. The bill treats not just public presentation or dissemination of material deemed hateful, but also private preparation or storing of material deemed hateful, such as memes on your phone or books on your shelf. Jesus. I mean, a book on your shelf. Individuals convicted on such charges face fines of 5,000 euros and anywhere from 6 months to 2 years in prison. Furthermore, as McEntee noted, a conviction will allow for the hate criminal, very Orwellian, label to follow an offender in court. Jesus, I mean, this really is. I'm telling you, these people read 1984 and they went, great idea. I mean, a book on your shelf, a book on your bookshelf. I mean, are they going to have police go in? Like somebody suspected of having the wrong book on their bookshelf? I mean, what's the wrong book? Is it something? Is it something from Thomas Sowell? What is it exactly? Who decides? Well, exactly the wrong people decide. That's who. This is astonishingly insane. I mean, this is even worse than Canada. And Canada, Trudeau's pushing a bill to change the criminal code here and the definition of hate, which, I mean, you know why he's doing it. In Canada, this bill, if it becomes law, just an anonymous person would be able to report you to a human rights tribunal, right? Which you'd have to go to. They would stay anonymous, right? I mean, it's completely dystopian. I think this is even worse. No wonder the mainstream press in the other Western countries apparently don't want people to know about this because they make it hard to find. It looks like. I know this hasn't gotten any press in Canada. Canadian press is not interested in this sort of thing. It's the sort of thing that might wake people up, I guess, right? All right. Anything else, you guys? Oh, here's that fucking Mizzy. Have you guys seen this? See this kid? This annoying kid? What's he doing? He ran off with like an old lady's dog. He went into somebody's house, just walked into their house, filmed it. He's doing all this for internet clout. Apparently, he has been arrested again on suspicion of breaching a court order. That's from a couple of days ago. There was something else that happened But apparently, the laws are very, very weak in the UK, and it's not enough to stop people from committing crimes. Uh, the Irish, like the French, also remove governments from Dublin by force. Well, I guess we'll have to see about that, won't we? I think it's been a while. Um, I personally don't advocate for violence. I just have to believe that the our countries are not so screwed up, and that there is still some vigor left in our political systems that have served us so well for so long. I just have to believe, I have to have faith that you know, that they're robust enough so that, there can be corrections in the traditional way. Let's go. Oh, this is it's like this is just some lady. Tell me if you can hear the volume on this, okay? I don't know if this streaming software lets me show the volume on this. Um, you're not advocating for violence. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, I know. Just yeah, I think on these things you just have to be you have to be clear. Not for you, but just for the audience in general, because people will take things. They'll cut. People can cut and take things out of context and whatnot. So I know what you're talking about. But tell me if you can hear the audio on this. Hold on a second. That is a lady beating up two cops. And she just runs away. I think that's pretty funny. I mean, she's quite a lot bigger than those police too, actually. She's pulling her hair. I don't know. It doesn't look very impressive. Should we watch that one more time? Let's do it. I mean, it's funny. This is what I mean, I guess maybe it's just actually sad, isn't it? I don't know. Let's see. Anything else there? I think I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to get to sleep pretty quick unless I can find one more thing. Oh, wait a second. We're still on that. There we go. What's this meme here? The mainstream media lies about literally everything. Okay, I'm going to need you to verify that claim with a link to a credible mainstream media article. Yeah, exactly. Source, please. What's oh, kind of an evil looking dog. Been doing something. All right, you know what? I think I'm wiped out. I think I'm done for the night, you guys. All right. Well, hey, thanks for stopping in. And thanks for the comments. And yeah, I should be putting out some regular videos tomorrow, Monday to Friday as usual. And maybe I'll if you guys want I'll start doing these more regularly. Saturday nights are usually okay. So anyway, have a good night, everybody, or good morning, depending on where you are. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.